Hello, good morning all.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, I am audible to all.
Yes, ma'am.
Our session. So, good morning everyone. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 1C. I am Riddhi Goel, moderator of this session. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this international conference on Information and Communication Technology for Intelligent System. 7th edition of conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held in Ahmedabad on 27th April 2023 yesterday, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom today, 28th April 2023. So I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable interactive session through the day. In this session, we have 10 presentations, and each presenter will be given 8 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for the question answer. So on 7 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder to conclude the presentation. So please follow the time limit and complete your presentation in time limit. There is another request to all participants to stay connected with us until the closing remarks. If you have any query and update, then you can write it to me in chat box. So just before we get started, I would like to invite our chair of the session, Professor Om Prakash Rishi. Professor Om Prakash Rishi is a professor in Department of Computer Science and Informatics, University of Kota, India. So we welcome you, sir, in our session. So now I would like to start with our paper. First paper is a comprehensive review on various artificial intelligence based on technology and approaches for cybersecurity. And presenter is Kanchana Devi.
Good morning, ma'am. This
Good
is
morning.
Sasha, one of the authors of the paper. I'll be presenting our work.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible, sir.
Shall I proceed with that?
Sure, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So good morning, all of you. I'm Asha, professor from Vellore Institute of Technology, Chennai campus. I'm one of the authors of the paper, a comprehensive review on various artificial intelligence-based techniques and approaches to cyber security. 1 minute. So let me start my presentation. We all know that the change is constant in the area of cybersecurity. Like new technologies are proactively implemented in order to prevent the cyber attacks, and it is given more attention when compared to artificial intelligence. So in order to increase the comprehensive awareness and also respond to real time and also have an advanced performance, cyber attacks are tracked and defended by integrating artificial intelligence with cybersecurity. So in contrast to the previous models or technologies, artificial intelligence techniques can finish this type of study in a matter of seconds. So in recent days, you know that the robustness and reliability in cybersecurity demands more modern artificial intelligence tools and techniques for improving the awareness, efficiency, and instant response to real-time scenarios. So when we take the real data like statistics, nearly 1 billion emails were exposed in a single year, affecting 1 in 5 of the internet users. And also data breaches cost businesses an average of $4.35 million dollars in 2022, and also around 236.1 million ransomware attacks occurred globally in the first half of 2022. Also, the cyber attacks increases globally by 125% every year, and also the increase in volume of cyber attacks continue to threaten the businesses and also the individuals in the world. So when we are talking about this artificial intelligence and cyber security, artificial intelligence, it is not a single domain. It is a combination of multiple domains like natural language processing, vision, robotics, expert system, logic, knowledge, representation, machine learning, etc. So we need to go for a research study which is going to use the artificial intelligence techniques to overcome the cyber attacks. So this artificial intelligence is considered as a highly transformative and outperforming technology which outperforms the humans in certain things like recognition of images, processing of NLPs, and also analyzing the huge volumes of data. And also AI deployed systems give an implication to the security mechanisms that we can go for some tools for monitoring the networks, autonomous vehicles, etc. Consequently, both these resilient techniques, that is artificial intelligence and cyber security, can be combined together to have a very good performance. And also security breaching in cyber world are expensive in terms of cost, discovery, protection, and also the time to recover and reputate the destruction is more. So this is overlay of artificial intelligence in various fields. And also when we take this artificial intelligence, it can be divided into 3 different categories. Like we can go for some aided intelligence, enhanced intelligence, self-governing intelligence, like that. And also it is using many machine learning algorithms which can help the cyber threats, like support vector machines, decision-making trees, ensemble learning algorithms, association rules, Bayesian algorithm, random forest algorithm, k nearest neighbor algorithm, principal component analysis. These will help the cyber threats from the intruders. And when we are talking about this cyber threats, we need to train the system, artificial intelligence system, so that whether the particular action is a threat or a normal thing. So for that, we will be using huge volumes of data. So when we take this machine learning algorithms, comparatively, deep learning algorithms are creating a more impact because we can work on with huge volumes of data by using the deep learning algorithms like recurrent neural networks, ensemble methods, or deep belief networks. Like this, we are having many deep learning algorithms which will help to train the models using huge volumes of data. And also, apart from like using the deep learning or machine learning algorithms, we have to go for some expert systems also, which will be uniquely focusing on the type of threats. Like if I am just we all know that expert system is defined as a knowledge dependent computer system which matches the decision making capability of human intelligence. So for that, we will be using the expert system to constrain the supervision of a human intelligence. So the role of cybersecurity is the protection. Like why we go for cybersecurity is for protection to defend the internet connected devices and services from malicious attacks from hackers, spammers, and cyber criminals. And also why we are focusing more on the cyber threats is the concepts such as the pandemic, cryptocurrency, and also the rise in work from home culture has come. It has created a target tech environment for criminals to take advantage of hacking any individual systems. So the cybersecurity should protect not only upholding the privacy, confidentiality of data, availability and integrity of data, and also it should be vibrant in maintaining the quality and safety of any internet user. And some of the common cyber threats are cyber terrorism, malware, trojans, botnets, adware, SQL injection, phishing, man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service attacks. These are all some of the attacks normally happens in the field of cyber threats. And this cyber attacks, what is the impact it is going to create on the society? It can cause electrical blackouts. We had severe electric blackout at US for 2 days. It has created a massive loss in the economy of the country. and also failure of military equipments and breaches of national security secrets. So they can result in theft of valuable sensitive data like medical records also. And also they can disrupt phone and computer networks or paralyze the system or making the data unavailable. So these are all some.
Ma'am, sorry for the interruption, ma'am. You have 1 minute left.
Okay, fine. So we are having benefits like this paper mainly focuses on artificial intelligence technologies, which can be used to create awareness and to prevent attacks in the internet world. So for this, we have done a comprehensive study of many research papers individually in the domain of artificial intelligence, what are all the various techniques available in artificial intelligence, and what are all the various kinds of attacks, and what are all the technologies which are already in use for the cyber security domain. So we have researched nearly more than 100 papers on that, and we have made a study on that. And finally, what we thought means we can create some tool which will help. But because we all know that the threats are not unique, I can't find out a single solution, a single tool or a single preventive mechanism for any type of threat, because the threats are vary and we can have some resemblance alone. So based on that, we will be able to identify a particular type of threat and we can avoid that. So for that, what we planned is we can do some, we can create some cyber security tool with the help of the artificial intelligence technology. Already existing tools are like semantic targeted attack analytics, that is TAA tool, which the main aim of this tool is to discover the unseen and targeted attacks. And then we are having the X-intercept tool. This is trained mainly based on the real-time feedback. It is capable of sharing various threat intelligence by analyzing large number of samples which are produced by the data scientists. And also we are having another tool. These are all some of the major tools which are in use. Dark trace antigena tool. So this regulates the user to mission towards accessing the protocols and also connectivity in the network and internet. And we are having QRadar advisor tool. So this gives a serious intuitions as warnings by using cognitive reasoning techniques, and additionally fastens the cycle towards response and reply. So, and we are having another tool, VCT, that is Vectras Cognito tool. It will be taken as a behavioral deduction algorithm in order to gather network information, logs, metadata, and cloud-based servers like that. So what we planned is we are planning to, after analyzing all these things in the technologies, we are planning to propose a tool which will help us to detect the cyber threats automatically with the help of this machine learning and deep learning algorithms. And these are all some of the few references which we have used. Thank you.
This is your comprehensive review paper.
Yes, sir.
What are the outcomes of this paper?
Yes, sir. Like we are not, as I said, we are not having any unique tool to identify a particular threat. We will be having the resemblance of two threats. Like I'll be having, suppose if it is going to be an SQL injection type of attacks, means I have to do the pattern of that, and then I have to find out a mitigation mechanism for that. So at least 2 or 3 types of attacks we must be able to identify with the help of this tool. But like we don't have any unique algorithm also for that. We can go make use of hybrid algorithms. That what I said is like we are having many deep learning algorithms, and the samples it's available online, in the internet. We are able to get samples. With the help of the samples, we will be able to train the model. We will be able to train the model, which will help us in identifying the threats. And also we will be trying to prevent the threats before, like proactive measures, like if there is some kind of threat which is going to happen at the beginning itself, we will try to sort out that issue and we will try to disconnect from that activity.
You have mentioned certain tools.
Yes, sir.
Like
yes.
X-intercept.
Yes, sir.
What kind of intelligence this tool have?
Actually, whenever there is a threat which is happening to a particular system, what happens that information will be passed on to the neighboring system, which will help us to analyze if there are more number of systems also having the similar kind of attacks. For example, I am in a particular network. If I am informed with a particular type of threat, I'm not sure whether it is a threat or not. I may be informing to the neighboring nodes so that the neighboring nodes, if they are also having certain kind of experience, means with the help of that, we will be able to get all the information and analyze whether it is going to be a threat or a normal activity.
Have you worked on suppose X intercept?
No, sir. No, sir. No. Actually, we learned what are all the things.
This is a part of firewall
Yes, sir.
system.
Yes,
This
sir.
is part of firewall system and
Yes, sir.
that mechanism.
Yes, sir.
Which you have mentioned here, that is a part of firewall.
Yes, sir.
Just I want to know, have you worked on that or have you checked all the possibilities which you have mentioned here in this?
No, sir. No, sir. We are just having a study alone. After that, only we are planning to learn what type of activities these tools are doing, and after that, only we will be able to work on it.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Riddhi,
okay.
please proceed for next.
Yes, sure, sir. So our next presenter is Sugandha C. Nandedkar, and the paper title is A Framework for Opinion Extraction and Analysis. So, ma'am, please proceed.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, Sugandha Nandedkar, and I'm going to present my work on opinion extraction and analysis. Here, a short outline has been given: that introduction, literature survey, system development, performance analysis, conclusion, and future scope. Sir, I just want to have one confirmation that should I go for the detailed literature survey or should I skip and I'll be putting more focus on my system development part?
Basically, what you have performed as an experimental, you just go on that.
Okay, sir, fine, thank you. So just one slide of introduction, that here the work is majorly focusing on how the opinion that has been shared by the different customers is useful, and we are mainly focusing on extracting that user's opinion for the purpose of analysis and extracting the required information out of it. As we all know that instead of a face-to-face communication, we prefer to share our opinion with the help of the different tools and techniques. So here the work is outlined as: first collect the textual corpus, then go for text pre-processing, linguistic analysis part, information extraction, set and sentiment analysis. And lastly, we'll be going for the summary of the entire work. So here the problem statement for which we were working is collect the corpus, then extract the feature and opinion pair out of this corpus. After extracting that feature and opinion pair, next we are supposed to extract the exact semantic of this one. The semantic is what type of information the opinion presenter is going to tell. And lastly, we are interested in identifying the sentiment behind that one. So in all, I want to generate this type of quadruple summary for the given document. These are few of the objectives when I have started my studies: that first explore all the text pre-processing techniques, then design and develop hybrid approach, later on develop the semi-supervised approach. This is the main focus for my today's work, which I'm going to present. That is the semi-supervised learning mechanism for extracting aspects associated with the extracted feature work. And lastly, the gradual weight updating approach. This is also one of my proposed approach for the purpose of sentiment analysis. As per our previous discussion, I'm going to skip this literature review part, but here the basic motto is convert the unstructured text into the structured format. So the literature review work is divided into three parts: information extraction, semantic analysis, and sentiment analysis. Few approaches. When I was searching through the different literature, I have divided the work into basic categories that what different authors have followed. For example, for information extraction, few authors are going to follow rule-based approach, whereas few are going to follow that statistical approach, also called as the bag of words. Similarly, for the semantic analysis, 4 different approaches have been followed. For example, few are focusing on frequent noun, few are focusing on the relationship, few are focusing by using the supervised learning, and few are focusing on unsupervised. Each one method was having its own some or other disadvantage. So what I have proposed, when we were having a brainstorming, we decided to go with the semi-supervised approach for the semantic analysis purpose. Later on, for the sentiment analysis, this module I have integrated, but right now not part of this paper completely. That for the sentiment analysis, dictionary-based approach and the machine learning approach, these 2 approaches are there. So the entire system development is going to actually have a crux of all these 3 things, what is presented in that slide. Here is the proposed work framework. First, we will take this type of review data set, will perform the initial pause tracking. Pause stands for part of speech tracking. Then the regularity score is generated. For the purpose of generating this regularity score, few rules have been embedded, near about 10 plus rules we have decided, and these rules are used for the purpose of extracting the feature opinion pair out of the given corpus. Later on, we are going to also use this PMI score. PMI stands for point-wise mutual information. This PMI score is basically for the purpose of single words which are not having their pair, because previous the regularity score was working for the paired terms where feature word is also present and the opinion word is also present. But here, with the help of this PMI score model, I'm trying to focus on the words which are either not having their corresponding opinion word or a word which is not having the corresponding feature word. Later on, all these are plotted with the help of this monolingual word alignment model, that is the WAM model. WAM was basically for the bilingual convergence, but here I have proposed it for the purpose of monolingual convergence. Later on, the opinion association score is calculated, and finally we are going to decide the genuine feature opinion pair out of it. Once the genuine feature opinion pair are decided, then the next model is the aspect mining model. So in case of this aspect mining model, I'm going to take use or assistance of a small knowledge base. This knowledge base will help me to develop the semi-supervised approach. A small amount of knowledge base will help me to collect the related terms, and then I can identify the semantic associated with the extracted FO pair, and lastly the GWU for the purpose of sentiment analysis of the extracted FO pair. Here, one small example has been given how the WAM model is used for the purpose of bilingual conversion. I'm not working with the bilingual model. I'm working with the monolingual model. And in case of monolingual model, it is going to create the pairs like. Later on, we are going to put, again, the mathematical part I have not mentioned here completely on my slides because a lot of mathematics is involved. It is in detail completed in my paperwork here. I'll be going for the short review for what that particular genuine score is. So with the help of that initial score, I'm going to extract the regularity score, and with the help of the WAM model, I'm going to extract the opinion association score. Later on, the genuine score is calculated as the harmonic mean of these 2 models. So in all, now the feature and corresponding opinion terms are extracted. The remaining single terms are extracted with help of that PMI model. Now the entire feature and that FO set is ready. Now this is the example SID set which I have used as a knowledge base for the semi-supervised learning. For example, for the restaurant reviews, these are few aspect related terms. Similarly, for the electronic reviews, these are few aspect related terms. The approach that I'm going to use here is mentioned with the help of this algorithm. That first I'm going to collect, as I have mentioned, that I have collected now all the feature terms, all the opinion terms. Its RMI score will be calculated at this point, and here a small knowledge base we have. Now, how this RMI score is going to work?
Sorry for the interruption, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have only 1 minute left for the presentation.
Okay. Yeah. So here the algorithm works in the bootstrapping manner. Bootstrapping means what? It takes one term, and on the basis of the RMI score, it is going to collect the other related terms. So this is how the semantic for every word FO pair is collected. This mechanism, this GWU mechanism represents how the sentiment analysis work has been done. The sentiment analysis, U stands for that particular updating, and here the gradual weight updating approach works with the cluster marking. As I have previously mentioned that for today's paper, my main focus was on the semi-supervised. So I won't talk much about this GWU. It is already available in one of my other publications. This in brief, these two data sets I'm going to use for the purpose of analyzing the performance of my given model. The confusion matrix, normal confusion matrix I'm going to use to comment on the performance of the model. That is the precision, recall and F4. Here are the outcomes that I have obtained. The first graph is representing the outcome for the first model of information extraction, that is co-extraction of feature opinion word there. You can notice that my proposed COCO model is going to perform better than the previous models. For all these, the references have been mentioned. These numbers I have taken from the previously published papers. The second graph is representing the performance analysis of the aspect-based opinion mining work. Now here, the work is again compared against these two mechanisms. One was ABSA and OAR. I would like to request you, sir, that here for the purpose of comparison, I was having these two papers with a similar data set. So I have taken these one only. And this is the performance outcome of the GWU for the purpose of sentiment analysis. Now, there are few major findings out of the research work that I have conducted, that here many irrelevant feature opinion word pairs are also extracted. So we have filtered these words with the help of that genuinity score. Later on, this particular genuinity score, which is a harmonic mean of regularity score and opinion association score, has been proven to be a better one. Later on, for this RMI BSSL, that is the semi-supervised approach, what we found that just the feature word is not sufficient. So by using that bootstrapping approach, we have successfully collected good semantics associated with all these word pairs. And for this one, we have also got a good use of this WAM model. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, sir. And again, these are few good things associated. I know that I'm lagging with time, but here I have worked with this aspect related terms. Initially, we were going with aspect terms, that is 80, and that SID set we have expanded with help of that RMI approach, and the ART set is connected. So lastly, this is conclusion. This is a unified framework for opinion analysis using the semi-supervised approach. Many good findings we have got here, that just residing on the frequent terms is not sufficient. Go for the semantic analysis also, and go for the sentiment analysis associated with this also. Few things which I would like to mention about the work, that yes, we are bounded with only one language, that is English. In future, we may think about expanding it to the other languages also. But the major point what we found is that for other languages, that much amount of sufficient data set was not available. So we can't go for that experimentation. Very soon, I'm planning for that thing also. Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay. You have very well presented this paper. I have few questions. First of all, in the conclusion, you have mentioned this thesis. You are presenting here this thesis or a paper?
I'm extremely sorry. Actually, that was my PhD.
Anyway, not an issue, not an issue.
I forget to change that word.
What is the difference between your work and already carried out? Means there are a lot of work is already done in semantic analysis and all these things with the supervised, semi-supervised and supervised learning. So how you can differentiate your work more effective as compared to older one or other ones?
Sir, I would like to talk about the factor that right now I'm working more in the area of deep learning. And what I found that there we are bit bounded by what the pre-trained model are already giving to us. Right now here, my work is, I completely accept that. See, when I'm saying that my accuracy is 77%, and right now the deep learning models are given accuracy up to the 99%, but we need to put a focus on the factor that they are not the scratch model.
Okay.
Here,
Why you have chosen semi-supervised learning? Why not supervised learning?
in case of supervised learning, I need to go for the complete annotated data set. And that annotated data set was not available in my domain for the purpose of semantic analysis. It was there just for the feature extraction, but not for semantic analysis. So what I decided, if I'm going with this RMI approach, the reason behind going for this particular algorithm or what I have proposed was basically that I want to go with this semi-supervised approach, that having a small amount of skill set and go for expansion of it. That's what my motive is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Riddhi ma'am, please proceed for next.
Yes, sure, sir. So our next presenter is Nikita, and the paper title is a Secure Data Dynamics and the Public Auditing Scheme for the Cloud Storage. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I am Nikita from Gudlavalleri Engineering College. Today I came here to present on a secure data dynamics and public auditing scheme for cloud storage is our project title, and the outline was abstract, existing method, disadvantages of existing method, proposed method, advantages of proposed method, modules we have used, and implementation and conclusion. In abstract, nowadays we all know that a cloud becomes a very developing technology. In cloud, we can store data with any cost, and all data stored in the cloud is handled by the cloud service providers or the caretaker of the cloud. The data owner who is kept a data, who is storing a data in the cloud, is have some concern about their data, maybe is appropriated by the unauthorized person or any other persons, and data owner is concerned about the authenticity and reliability of the data stored in the cloud. So this project is designed to suggest a secure publishing auditing scheme, applying the third-party auditors to authenticate the privacy, reliability, and integrity of the data in the cloud. Existing method, the data stored in the cloud is totally depend and is totally handled by the cloud service providers. But the cloud service providers have no knowledge about whether the another unauthorized person maybe interrupt the one data owner's data. They don't know any knowledge about their that. So data can be misappropriated or altered by the unauthorized person. Disadvantages was less data privacy, providing less security to data, low efficiency. And in proposed method, we have applied a third-party auditors to suggest a secure auditing method. And we have used it for the for encryption AES 256 algorithm, and for integrity SHA, and for public key encryption RSC we have used it. Advantages was improving data privacy, providing more security to data, and high efficiency, confidentiality, and privacy. Because applying a third-party auditors, the unauthorized person is depends on the third party that it provides a secure auditing method. So the data privacy is improving here. And we have 3 modules. CSS means cloud services, TPA, and data owner. CSS can log in with their credentials, username, and password, and CSS can view that all the data owner's details and the public auditing, and TPA can log in with their credentials and can view the files and generate the key. And data owner can also register and log in with their entities, and a data owner can upload a data and can search a file of another data owners, and he can see the file status or request status, and then he can log out. This is our home page. In home page, we have three modules: CSS, TPA, and data owner. Now, CSS credentials. After logging a CSS, this is our CSS home page. He can see all the data owners and public auditing, and he can log out. The data owners, a data owner can register into the cloud. Depends on the CSS. Whenever he register into the cloud, the first CSS should accept their request, then only he can log in into the cloud. So after registering, all the data owners details here is was mentioned. And public auditing, whether a particular data owner should participate in a public auditing, then a CSS should approve here. After approving only, he can participate in the public auditing. This is a TPA login page, and it is a home page of the TPA. TPA can contains two: view files and generate key. You can view the files of the data owners who are uploading their files, and that files, if that file should participate in a public auditing or another data owner should access that particular file, then that particular file should be approved and accepted here. And it generates a key. Based on this generated key, we can check the others others file. This is a data owner login page. This is a registration page. Here he can upload a file, and particular file he can give a keywords here. Based on the keywords, if one data owner can search the data file of the another owner, then the another owner's keywords here to be searched file here. After a TPA generated a key, here the response is shown here. Secret key was A326, and when we download that, so another data owner's file was downloaded here with safe and security. Thank you.
Yeah, Sugandha, you have presented your project. Do you think this is a research paper? If it is a research paper, then what kind of outcomes you have find within your research?
We
I'm
have
audible?
provided, yes, sir.
It seems that you have presented your PG project work. This is not a research paper. I think you are doing MTech, and whatever MTech work you have presented here. Anyway, good efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Riddhi ma'am, can we proceed for next?
Yes, sir, sure. So our next presenter is Mebam Indika Devi, and the paper title is a exploratory study on SMT versus NMT for the research concept English to Manipuri translation.
Thank you, Riddhi ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Actually, I'm unable to share the screen run. It's being held by Nikita. Okay, I'll say.
Okay, ma'am.
Can you see my PPT?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So good afternoon to one and all present here. I myself, my name Indika Devi, and the title of my paper is An Exploratory Study of the SMT versus NMT for the Resource Constraint, English to Manipuri Translation. So, a brief abstract. NMT, that is neural machine translation, is known to be more preferable than the previously dominant statistical machine translation method. However, for the linguistically distinct and under-resourced language pair, English to Manipuri, we experiment and compare the SMT and NMT results with using the same dataset sizes in our work. Here, for automatic evaluation matrices, we have used BLUE and other automatic matrices. Along with that, we have also incorporated expert evaluation of the results provided by these two systems. Based upon analysis of the results, we try to understand which of the method, that is either SMT or NMT, is more favorable for the English to Manipuri translation under low resource conditions. Introduction. NMT, neural machine translation, is now the state-of-art approach for machine translation, and it has replaced the earlier dominant statistical machine translations. So in the work of Kinosito and his co-workers, it has been asserted that NMT requires a huge amount of training data in the form of millions of data points and requires a much more cleaner data as compared to SMT. So a lack of data is a substantial barrier in NMT implementation. And there are various studies and analyses that compare the work of SMT to NMT for different language pairs. And we find that depending upon the language pair under consideration, we find that some work is favored by SMT approach, whereas NMT favors some language pairs. For example, in the work of Wang and his co-authors, they developed a bidirectional MT system and they find that the performance varies with a change in the translation direction, where they find that depending on the translational pair under consideration, SMT performs better in one direction, and when they interchange the direction of translation, NMT performs better. And in the work of Dams and Mack in 2019, they reported that translating between languages with different word ordering and morphology is difficult, regardless of the approach, whether it is SMT or NMT. When you have two languages involved, which have different word order and which have different morphology in between them, translation is a difficult task. So here we will be exploring both the SMT and NMT approaches and for the English to Manipuri machine translation, and we'll be evaluating them using automatic and expert judgment. So here I highlight a brief comparison between the two languages, English and Manipuri. So by origin, Manipuri belongs to the Sino-Tibetan family of languages, whereas English belongs to the Indo-European language family. By alphabets, English has 26 letters, whereas Manipuri is a language which employs two scripts. One is called as Samaite and another is Bengali. So for our work, we have used the Bengali script, which has 26 letters. Consonants and vowels, English and Manipuri, they have got 21 consonants. However, for vowels, English has got 5 vowels and Manipuri has 6 vowels. Prepositions and postpositions. In English, they employ prepositions, whereas in the case of Manipuri, they employ postpositions. And further, adjective is not a distinct category for Manipuri languages. Rather, it is generated from verbs. Therefore, adjective doesn't exist as a distinct part of speech category. Word order. For formation of English sentences, they employ the word order of subject, verb, and object. Whereas in the case of Manipuri, the word order in sentence construction is subject, object, and verb. Morphology. So morphology-wise, English is a morphologically poor or a weak language, whereas Manipuri is a morphologically rich language. Therefore, Manipuri has a synthetic and agglutinative morphology, whereas English has an analytical morphology. And in English, function words are commonly utilized, whereas in the case of Manipuri, they usually use more content words. Phonology. In English, there are 4 distinct levels of accentuation, and it is a highly stressed language. In the case of Manipuri, it is a tone language and it has 2 tones. One is called as the level tone, and another is the high falling tone. So since being a tone language in Manipuri, a single word can mean different meanings. For example, I have used an example called as the Lui. Lui it can mean the clear, the meaning of clear when it is used in a high falling tone, and otherwise it can also mean a deep or meaning difficult when it is used in a level tone. Tense and aspect. In English, there are 3 tenses. In comparison, Manipuri language is aspect dominant and tenseless language. So according to the book written by Chungkham Yasavanta Singh, Manipuri has got 4 aspects: unrealized, continuous, perfect, and simple. Word formation. So the main mechanism of word formation in English is derivation. For example, the word unhappy is being derived from the word happy by addition of this word un. Un plus happy is giving the word unhappy. In the case of Manipuri, the basic procedure of word formation is compounding. For example, the word Lanni, meaning the word soldier in English, is translated as person of war. So this is formed by combining the terms Lan meaning war, the term Lan meaning specifically meaning war, and Ni meaning person. So Lan Ni meaning war, person, the person of war. So it is giving a new word called as the Lanni, meaning the word soldier. So here I have included only a brief.
Sorry for the interruption, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, but only 1 minute left for the presentation.
Okay, so here we have find a few works that has been that have compared SMT and NMT of various languages. In the work Dowling, they have compared the SMT and NMT work, and they find that SMT outperforms NMT in the fixed domain of public administration. However, in another work of English to Hindi translation and English to Bengali translation, they have reported, Mahat and Indra, they have reported that for basic text, NMT gives better results than SMT. However, for translations involving all kind of sentences, and SMT outperforms NMT. Further, another works has been included in somewhere. I will be jumping them because of the time limit. So in the work of Zassam and Dozik, they have established that SMT performs somewhat better than NMT according to the Blue score. However, human rated NMT better than SMT, particularly in case of fluency. So there are some other works also where they find that the evaluation of experts and the evaluation through automatic evaluation, they contrast with each other. So in our work, we'll be also comparing our automatic evaluation results with those of the expert evaluation. So this is the SMT model. I'll be going just through them. So coming to the results and discussion, for our experiment, we have employed the split code so as to assign the training and test set. So our training set contains 40,000 parallel sentences, and a test set comprises of 2,000 parallel sentences. So to train our SMT model, we have used train the phrase-based SMT model using Moses toolkit, and for tokenization, corpus filling, everything, we have used the Moses inbuilt options. Whereas for Manipuri, we have used the in the NLP library. For NMT, we have used the Open NMT by toolkit. So here are the results and discussions. In table 1, we see the scores of SMT and NMT. So for automatic evaluation, we have used 4 matrices: Blue, Mature, F-min, and TER score, so as to get credible outcomes. So we have find in all the scores, Blue, Mature, F-min, and TER, we have find that SMT results are better than NMT score. And it is important to mention here is that TER is a negative measure, meaning that the lesser the value, better the results. So expert evaluation. For expert evaluation, we have seek the advice from an expert who is expert in the field of Manipuri languages. So we have used 2 measures. One is adequacy and fluency, and we have used 5 scales of it, 5 being the best and 1 being the least. So adequacy is used to measure the meaning expressed in the target language is also expressed in the gold standard translation or the source. And fluency relates to the target exclusively without taking the source into account. So the criteria in the case of fluency are the grammar, spelling, choice of words, and style. So as per our evaluation given by the expert, so these are, we give them in the form of a chart. So here we find that SMT translations are more adequate than those of NMT. However, NMT translations are more fluent. So as we can find the two charts, we find that in terms of adequacy, we find that SMT is better than NMT, and in the case of fluency, NMT is found to be better than SMT. However, the expert gives commentary on the SMT outputs, word order, and the presence of untranslated phrases. And in the case of NMT, we find various like repetitive translations for various sentences and meaningless translations. So these are the two commentary results given by the expert. So conclusion, so our work is a work that compares SMT and NMT. So similar work has also been done by some other researcher in the work of SM Singh and TD Singh in 2021, where they have compared SMT and NMT for English to Manipuri translation. However, they have used the Sacker Blue instead of the Blue score, and they have also sought the advice of expert evaluation. And they report that based upon the Sacker Blue score, they found that the results of Sacker Blue contradict with that of the expert evaluation. So our work here uses Blue along with other matrices, Meteor, F1, and TER. That's why I have used not depending only on one metric, but other 2-3 matrices so as to check the credibility of the results. So based upon our study, we find that automatic evaluation results go in parallel with that of expert evaluation in terms of adequacy. And we come to the conclusion that SMT is much more efficient than NMT when your machine translation is constrained with low resource conditions. And it is to be noted that the experimental setup of the previous work done by the SM Singh is different from ours in the use of the size of the training data, the domain, the training step they have used, and so on. Thank you. And for our expert evaluation, we have seek the advice of Professor Sungkham Yesavanta, who is a fellow at IIS, and I want to give my acknowledgement to him. Mr. Differences. Thank you.
Yeah, Indika.
Yes, sir.
Your latest reference is 2019. In your research, you have referred the paper latest written in 2019, which you have mentioned in here in your presentation. And last in conclusion, you mentioned that is 2021. But in last 2 years, there are lot of changes have done in this machine translation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you studied about that?
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, I have gone through them. Now, actually, I have pointed only this because
You have mentioned only 2 approaches, that is NMT and SMT. But
yes,
2 more approaches are there. That
yes,
is
sir.
RBLT, rule-based machine translation, and
Yes.
hybrid machine translation. You haven't mentioned within your research. So
Actually, sir, I have explored them and I have written a paper on that also, and I have submitted to other things. Actually,
that
this
plays an important role. Rule-based machine translation plays an important role while we are studying in neural machine translation or statistical machine translation. So I have doubt that this comparison is pretty good. But anyway, thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you,
Refer
sir.
our latest journals for your study. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we are moving our next presenter, Chandramani, and the paper title is Analytics of Retail Store Consumption Using Physical Computing.
Hello, good morning all.
Good morning.
So my screen is visible, sir? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I am Chandramani Bansode from Department of Electronics and Telecommunication, Vishwakarma Institute of Information Technology. So today I'm going to present the paper named Analytics of Retail Store Consumption Using Physical Computing. Coming to the introduction, it is an embedded system which collects the data of different activities performed by customers inside the supermarkets or retail stores. It helps to improve sales, management, and customer experience inside the supermarkets. So the system is made up of network of different sensors and microcontrollers, namely ESP32 and Raspberry Pi. Yes, sir. Hello.
You listen me? Yeah. In place of introduction, only emphasize on your research. Forget about the introduction and all. You just exactly what is the problem, how you solve this problem, and what are the methods or techniques you have used. Okay, and what are the outcomes? You focus on 1, 4, 3. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. So actually, in this research paper, sorry. So system is focusing on the improving the sales and management of the retailers. For that, system provides features like people count, person detection, scanning and advertisement through BLE and Bluetooth, and temperature sensing. For that, we are using materials and methods are used. For that, occupancy or presence sensing, we are using HCSR 04 ultrasonic sensor. So whenever the customer will come in front of products on the retail racks, so system will detect its presence and will update the data to our ESP32. For temperature sensing, we are using DS18B20 digital sensor, which is having one wire interface. It can sense from minus 55 degrees Celsius to plus 125 degrees Celsius. We are using classic Bluetooth on BLEs, which are built in inside the ESP32. So all customers have nowadays electronic gadgets which can be interfaceable with BLE and Bluetooth devices. So our system using Bluetooth and BLE will scan the Bluetooth devices of our customers in real time. And for people counting, we are using a 12-volt infrared curtain sensor. It works generally as most equally to the simple IR sensors, but with wider range of 6-meter range. Now coming to the integration and control of system, the flow of system is divided into two parts. First part is controlled by rack controller and second half is controlled by row controller. For rack controller, we are using ESP32. So ESP32 will basically gather all the information collected by all these sensors and gadgets, and it will transfer this information to row controller using our Wi-Fi protocol. So row controller, we are using Raspberry Pi Model B. This row controller will collect all the information transmitted by different rack controllers, and it will transfer further that data to cloud database. And for that, the row controller going to use a MQTT broker. As soon as the data will be present on the cloud, retailers can easily access it through website. Now that was the flow of our system work. Now coming to the experimental analysis, we are going to analyze 10,261 entries. Now inside the stores, how the system will actually differentiate between employees and customers and the trolleys. So for that, we are going to assign small BLE tags to trolleys and employees. And on these BLE tags, we are going to change user data. For trolleys, we are going to assign 2 number series, and for employees, we are going to assign user data of 1 number series. So whenever our system will scan nearby Bluetooth devices in real time, and if the system will get the user data, scanned user data of 2 series, system will detect it as a trolley, or the system is scanned the user data of 1 number series, it will conclude it as an employee. And whenever system will get any other user data than 2 series or 1 series, system will recognize it as a customer. Now going to the temperature readings, most of the time the temperature surrounding the retail stores is of 26 degrees Celsius. But let's say whenever there will be a rise in temperature, let's say more than 40 degrees Celsius, this will send alert to system, and which will also helpful to against the threats like catching a fire inside the stores. Coming to the people count, for that we are going to discuss the data collected by 3 different rack controllers. Now here we can see that rack controller named whose MAC address is starting with AC is highly visited. So that's why we can say that the product on that rack controller was most attractive, and whereas less visited rack controllers have less attractive products on them. Identifying premier customers, so system also can easily find out the premier customers inside the stores. Our system is capable of scanning nearby Bluetooth devices into the real time. So that means it will also find out each particular customer spending how much time inside the stores. So that's how we are going to find out our premier customers. Now coming to the system application, in real-time scanning, our system not only keep track of customers, it will also keep track of employees. So when the employee is entering the shop, how much time they are spending in each section, and when they are leaving, these all will be keep tracked by our system. So
Please conclude your.
Yes, sir.
Please conclude your work.
Okay, sir. Okay. So these are some system applications, like it will give real-time attendance, BLN Bluetooth advertisement. It will advertise some special products, and it will also use for advertising some special products to our premier customers also. Now coming to the conclusion, it is the same provides most the solutions for professionals, technical as well as business management domains. It is used to organize premium products, advertise them, and it can also identify premium customers. Our system can also give the patterns or trends in the buyers behaviors. Now for the future scope, new experience regarding store format arrangement should be made, and use of artificial intelligence will also enhance the capabilities of system, as well as self-concluding methods. Thank you, sir. So is there any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good presentation. You have mentioned in your presentation physical computing, but you didn't mention what is the meaning of it and how algorithms are used for physical computation, what algorithms are essential for physical computing. That is not mentioned in your work. Can you specify in 1 or 2 minutes?
So it is actually we are using different microcontrollers, so we are not using any algorithm, sir. We are directly using it. If no, sir, not algorithm.
Yeah. Can you
We will
specify
simply the
physical
two different
computing?
controllers.
Can you specify this term physical computing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. So basically, the microcontrollers will collect the sensor data, and it will send it to the our cloud, and from that the database itself will analyze it. The cloud database will analyze and separate it all data, sir. So it is already means the feature is provided by that cloud database, sir.
Means you want to say that this is the embedded microcontroller based interactive system.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Riddhi ma'am, please proceed for next.
Sure, sir. So our next presenter is Madhusmita Panda, and the paper title is the application of SEO and its variant for optimized routing of mobile robots.
A very good morning to all, Dr. Rishi and all other participants. I am Madhusmita Panda. I am here to present my paper on application of SEO and its variants. My screen is visible. Is my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay. So my paper title is Application of SEO and its variants for optimized routing of mobile robots. And here is a brief abstract of the paper. Here we are talking about the optimization problem or the automation problem in the industry. And basically industry automation deals with integration of intelligence to the mobile robots for enhancing their decision-making capability. And we have taken one of such problem which leads this decision-making problem. This is the mobile robot routing problem, which basically deals with finding or planning optimal and suboptimal paths in an industrial environment. Now, the industrial environment can be modeled as a static or a dynamic environment based on the amount of information available to the observer. We will elaborate this later on. This purpose of this review is to find out the What are the different researches done in the field of this routing of mobile robots, particularly using ant colony optimization and its variants. Here, variants may be modified SEO or the hybrid algorithms that are based on SEO are used for the mobile routing, path planning problem or routing problem. So the basic aim of this research is to encourage other researchers to find out the shortcomings of the presented research and explore other points and other problems in the industrial automation field. This is my brief flow presentation, introduction. Coming to the introduction part. So SEO was first invented by Mark Dorigo in 90s, and it is proved to be a most adapted algorithm for different types of optimization problem, basically in both of which scientific and engineering problems dealing with classification, assignment, scheduling, and etc. And particularly SEO mimics the food searching behavior of ants, which aims to find the shortest path for the food and which aims to find the shortest path between the food and its colony. And here food can be considered as the target they want to reach. So SEO has been successfully applied as an optimization algorithm for this routing problem. And here we are trying to navigate and control the robot movement in a defined environment. So as the industrial environment can be static or dynamic as discussed, based on whether the environment is static or dynamic, the path planning or the routing problem can be classified as local or global. The global path planning or routing directs the robot to follow a predefined path that is already decided by using some optimization criteria, whereas local routing problem deals with the dynamic decision making based on the local observation. It aims at generating optimal or suboptimal collision-free or hindrance-free route for the robot to reach its target by satisfying some of the optimization criteria. These optimization criteria may involve minimizing distance covered by the robot or the time of travel of the robot, amount of power consumed by the robot. Coming to the different area of concern of MRRP, the first we have to find out how many number of robots you are going to plan the path or plan the route. It may be single robot or it may be multiple robot. Then comes the environmental modeling. Based on the information with the user, with the observer, environment can be static, dynamic. It can be modeled as a two-dimensional graph or can be a three-dimensional graph. Then comes the optimal route planning between source and target. This is the use of optimization criteria. Then comes the collision avoidance with obstacle. Here we have to plan or define the problem to include the collision avoidance. And then comes the computational complexity of optimization algorithm. So SEO, as this research progress, SEO is studied based on two criteria. One is the modified SEO, another is the hybrid SEO. Modified SEO is the some parameters of the SEO is modified by using some other methods or techniques so that the lacunas like your particular local optimize calling in local minima or the slow convergence of SEO algorithms can be improved. With the same aim, we can also go for hybrid SEO, where we use another algorithm combined with the base algorithm that is SEO to improvise the lacuna of the SEO in case of your mobile robot route planning. This is a brief introduction to SEO meta heuristic. Here is this SEO is an iterative method optimization algorithm, which actually based on the artificial ants. Those mimics the social nature of ants to find solution for optimized problem like mobile robot routing. Here the artificial ants employ one of the available communication method that agrees with the pheromone exchange behavior. Pheromone is a chemical substance that is secreted by the ant to exchange the path information with their other partners or other group teammates or other ants. Then comes this iteration method is assume a predefined number of artificial ants, and then the environmental is model like three-dimensional or two-dimensional graph. Then each ant traces a path by traveling from one vertex to another vertex in the graph till they reach the destination, while avoiding revisiting any node. The entire path tested by the ants considered to be a possible solution. And the next vertex to be visited is selected basically on the weight of that path. This weight of the path is nothing but is similar to the pheromone concentration secreted by the ant. So this pheromone concentration is inversely vary with the length of the path. The shorter the path, the higher is the pheromone concentration. So other ant will sense the higher concentration of that path and follow the path followed by the previous ant. The more the number of ant they are trekking the same path, the more will be the concentration of the pheromone. So at a point, what will happen? All the ants will follow the same path to reach the target. That will be the shortest distance in this case. So after each iteration, the same concept is used as an algorithm in SEO. And after each iteration, the weights are updated to select the best path, and the ants are motivated to find the path similar to the edge with higher weights. This is in terms of the algorithm. The same thing is represented. First, we have defined the number of ants, initial pheromone trails as weights, initial weight or weight initialization. Then we start with every number of ant, the iteration start, it search for the random solutions and find the unvisited node with high probability. Then we go for the local search process to weight updation, and finally we'll reach the target with an optimized path. Now coming to this application of SEO for mobile robot path planning. First thing is we have to environment modeling. We have to go for first design the environment, then the parameter initialization, like the number of ants and the initial weights. Then we generate the global random routes for every vertex. As we have discussed, each vertex has a number of possibilities. So we generate global random routes, and each route fitness function is calculated by an ant I. Then this pheromone or weights are updated for each route, and this weight transition is applied, and the new route is generated. If we reach the maximum limit of the ants, then we'll go for the local search and updation of the weight. And finally, if we reach the destination, we'll finish. If the number of ants are not reached the maximum limits, the first loop will continue, and till reaching the destination, every vertex is explored for the possible number of solutions. Now, here this table represent the total review or the analysis of the researches. So these are it starts from 2006, we'll go up to the recent application.
Oh, sorry for the interruption, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, but only 1 minute left for the presentation.
Okay, thank you. So these are the reviews, and coming to the conclusion, the issue is basically from this research and review, we find that is the most adapted algorithm, one of the most adapted algorithm. It comprises of exploration and exploitation phases. It goes for random exploration of the environment, and each route, each vertex is exploited for all possible types of solution. Because of that, it is basically suffered from slow convergence and local optima problem. And the modified SEO or the hybrid algorithm based on SEO are basically focused on pheromone updation or upgrading the formation by using different techniques or algorithms, and to improvise the probability function of selection of SEO to improvise the performance of SEO. So this one is research is particularly aimed at encouraging other researchers for going for future research in high dimensional and complex work environment, compromises of both static and dynamic obstacle. These are some of my references. Thank you.
Good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Basically, I have only one question. What are the future scope of your work?
The future scope
Aspects of mobile computing. Mobile robot system.
Sir, not getting yes. Sir, actually, future scope is here till the research is about either static or dynamic environment, and the complexity is also varies, sir. Generally, people are defining the environment assuming that some informations are available, obstacle informations are available, or the nature of variation of the obstacle is available. But still, we have a scope to develop the realistic environment or design the realistic environment and apply the SEO and its variant to actually modeling the industrial environment.
In the current scenario, when ChatGPT and other AI tools are available, and the entire scenario of robotics is also changed. So in that case, what is the role of SEO? Just I want to know about that.
Sir, actually, SEO is already means it's a base algorithm, very old algorithm. Nowadays, a number of SI is available. So I'm basically focusing on the hybrid type. So using the SEO with the recent algorithm to improvise for the particular or realistic problems.
When Sophie like of robot is already created, and within that entire all the algorithms are already used, and the performance is already quite high. So
Yes,
in
sir.
that case, how we can improvise this ACO and all? Anyway, thank you. Good presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Please proceed, ma'am.
Next presenter is a Yudhit Gala. And the paper title is a hybrid intrusion detection system using autoencoders and snorts.
Hello, good morning, sir, and good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
1 minute, I'll just present. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Good morning, everyone. My topic is hybrid intrusion detection system using autoencoders and SNOT. So I'll be presenting the paper. The outline of the presentation is the introduction, the literature review that we have conducted, the methodology we followed, and the proposed system design that we've framed in order to help with the hybrid intrusion detection, the results and the analysis, and then the conclusion and the references. So in the introduction, as we know, internet, there is a lot of information sharing. Therefore, network security has become a problem of concern. Therefore, hackers are always having their eyes on computer systems, deploying successful attacks and breaching the security. Therefore, intrusion detection systems are used to monitor and secure networks against these unauthorized breaches. But there are two limitations faced by the existing intrusion detection systems: high rate of false positives and low rate on zero-day attacks. To overcome these problems, we need intrusion detection systems that can learn and learn new intrusions as it goes. Therefore, hybrid model is proposed that is gives more promising performance. It takes on a layer approach and detects attacks based on the known signatures as well as using anomaly detection algorithms. In this paper, we tried to explore the efficacy of the supervised and the semi-supervised models for intrusion detection and how intrusion detection is changing for modern networks. So this is the literature review we conducted. It was done on various works that we have seen implement intrusion detection using machine learning techniques. So these papers have also helped us to understand what type of methodology should we follow based on their approach and how we should implement our own hybrid IDS approach. So the different papers I will not be discussing due to the time constraint. So I've gone to methodology. The first thing, the data set that we've used is the ICTIS 2017. It is a recent data set that was made by the Canadian Institute of Cybersecurity, and it includes the different attacks like brute force attack, botnet, distributed DOS. And as you can see on the right, these are the statistics of the data set. So on the first method, is an anomaly IDS using autoencoders for dimensionality reduction. So this is our supervised model that we have, this is the first supervised model that we have trained for our hybrid IDS system. So the methodology goes as follows: the dataset collection, that is the IDS we've used. Then in the data processing step, we have removed all the infinite NaN values, scaled the data set using min-max scaler, and then divided the data set under 80-20 ratio. Then we perform dimension reduction using a new type of neural network, that is autoencoders. Then we've used light GBM model, that is light gradient boosting model machine, and random forest for classification purpose on the reduced data, dimensionally reduced data set. And then we've evaluated our results. So let me talk about dimensional reduction using autoencoders. So it's an unsupervised artificial neural network attempts to encode data by compressing into lower dimensions. So there is a bottleneck layer. Then the decoding is done by reconstructing the original input. So for dimension reduction, we need to access the bottleneck layer that holds the compressed representation of the input data. So the suggested architecture that we have used is an encoder that has 2 layers of 64 neurons followed by 32 input neurons. Then the bottleneck layer, which has 10 neurons, and the decoder is the similarly 2 layers with 32 and followed by 64 neurons. So then the second model that we have used is autoencoders for purely anomaly detection. This is a semi-supervised to unsupervised method. So the methodology I'll discuss is data collection, then data pre-processing, where we remove the infinite value, scale the value. But the different part is done that we use binary classification, where we label encode every other attack class as 0 and the normal packets as 1. Then we create just a data frame from the test data frame of the normal packets. And then we train the autoencoder model just on the benign packets. This is done by finding the threshold for anomaly packets. And then we test our encoder model. So anomaly detection by autoencoders, they train on a normal data set and use it to identify patterns that deviate from normal behavior. So the reconstruction error between the input and the reconstructed form is used to gauge how normal the input data is. And that is how we calculate our threshold value. The performance is done on and evaluated based on the reconstruction error. And we compare the threshold value. So the suggested architecture that we propose is an encoder that has 2 layers of 64 and 32 neurons, but a dense layer is followed after each, a dropout layer is followed after each layer. Then the bottleneck layer here has two layers comprising of 16 neurons each, and decoder layer has 2 layers of 34 and 64 neurons. So now we move on to a proposed system design. So this is the hybrid system design that we are proposing. So here it works in 2 ways. We are listening on the network in 2 different systems. One system has the CIC flow meter tool. So I'll explain the methodology. So the CIC flow meter tool reads live network traffic flow and generates features from the flow data. So then we pass it on to Redis, which acts as a live message broker between an anomaly detection algorithm and CIC flow meter. And then anomaly IDS, the methodologies that we have trained, evaluates the network generated that is generated by CIC flow meter and published on the Redis channel. And this gives a bit of a real-time network intrusion possibility for a model. Similarly, we have Snort running on promiscuous mode and generating alerts. And all of these alerts collected from Snort and anomaly IDS are sent to Logstash and Beats. So these are 2 types of data pipelining services that we use to send our forward our alerts that are collected in real time to Elasticsearch, which is an indexing database that stores and generates alerts and to support real-time analytics and search. Then we have the Kibana, where we give a visualization framework to help with the real-time analytics and help mitigate network intrusion detections to network administrators. So the results of our study are for the first methodology where we trained the autoencoder just for the purpose of dimension reduction, we trained it for 10 epochs with a batch size of 64. The optimizer was Adam and the loss function used was mean absolute error. And the loss function graph for the validation and training graph gave a good convergence, as you can see in the right side. Then based on the reduced data set, the dimensionally reduced data set, we performed classification using light BGM and random forest. So light BGM model gave an accuracy of 80.1 and F1 score 71.5. But as you can see here, the light BGM model has been overfitted on the most frequent classes or the benign class, which holds the most number of values in the data set. So but random forest took a longer time to train, but gave a better accuracy overall in different classes of the data set. Giving an accuracy of around 99.6. Now moving on to a semi-supervised model, that is an anomaly detection using autoencoders, where we trained the autoencoder for 20 epochs for a batch size of 512 and optimizer Adam. The loss function used was mean squared logarithmic error. So it gave an accuracy of 85% and the threshold value achieved was 0.0018. But the thing was they didn't receive good convergence. The autoencoder model could have been trained for more epochs to get a better convergence. To summarize, the proposed system is gave a hybrid approach system for effective performance of our IDS. So autoencoders were first initially used in a first model for dimensional reduction, and based on the dimensionally reduced dataset, random forest and light BGM model was used. The light GBM model was trained faster than the random forest, but it overfitted on the highest frequency class of the dataset. Proposing a semi-supervised approach to intrusion detection, an autoencoder model was proposed to help reconstruct packets that are labeled as benign in the dataset, and we calculated threshold using which we can detect anomaly packets. So our future scope and our suggested approach for future researchers is using systematic database labeled network datasets are becoming more and more difficult to obtain. Unsupervised and semi-supervised methods can help the anomaly IDS more prevalent and increase their adaptability into changing modern networks. These are the references that I've used. Thank you.
You have presented your work in very well manner, but I have a few questions. What is the novelty of your work with the existing one? There are so many algorithms are there, so many work is carried out from last couple of years. What is the novelty?
So the novelties we are giving here is a real-time approach and a proposed system framework that a researcher can use for developing more.
Already this approach is used by so many researchers. That is not novelty of your. If you have studied papers so intensively, then you will find that this is already carried out by so many researchers.
Yes, sir. So many researchers have done this, but the problem with the papers that we have come across is they are not done online learning or of the anomaly IDS. So what happens in online learning, the model, when we put it in the network, it trains on the network traffic itself instead of the data set of the that you have trained it on. So our approach gives an idea to industry people or researchers to use autoencoders, that is the anomaly detection, the semi-supervised model, just on the normal packets in their data set. So this will increase the possibility of generating more alerts, but not false positive alerts, because the data sets differ from network to network. So for example, a data set that has been trained or a model that has been trained on a data set will not work on a different data network. So you're not audible.
I got it. Thank you. Okay. Ma'am, please proceed for next.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the presentation and the paper. Sorry. Our next presenter is Shri Vidya, and the paper title is a model designed to analyze coronary artery disease using machine learning techniques.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm Dr. Shri Vidya. Please confirm whether my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, my topic is model design to analyze coronary artery disease using machine learning techniques. So we all know today the importance of the detection of the coronary artery disease. So in recent days, the major cause of mortality all around the world is predicted due to heart disease and its causes, which we have to understand. And when we have to undergo with the detection of this particular disease, machine learning techniques will help us a lot in proving the prediction or the accuracy of the disease which has been diagnosed. So for this, we are going to use some of the machine learning techniques, so which we'll be discussing further. So this is the agenda for today's presentation. So let me first talk about the coronary artery disease, which is also called as CAD. It's a complex and multifactorial disease, which can be challenging for each of us to get it diagnosed or get it treated. The disease prediction and the analysis is very important here. So for that, the machine learning techniques which can be used in large amounts for the data which has been present, which can be extracted in different patterns and different relationships can be arrived at. So we can go with the machine learning techniques. So here we will be using different data set. So this is the system model where we have the patient details collected as the data set. the data set, it can be from the repositories or it can be from different surveys across the clinical diagnosis which is being done. And once the data set is collected, we are going to perform the data acquisition process to consolidate all the data and to just look for what data is required for our analysis. Next, the step is for data pre-processing, data validation and analysis. And finally, we are going to use the technique of accuracy and precision to find out the disease detection and prediction based on the different algorithms. So these are some of the algorithms, machine learning algorithms, where we are going to use for the implementation process to predict the disease, to analyze, to check out the accuracy of the model. So we have logistic regression, k-nearest neighbor, support vector machine, Naive-based algorithm, decision tree algorithm, and the random forest algorithm. So coming to the first technique, the logistic regression, it is mainly a statistical technique which is often used for analyzing the medical data to diagnose the coronary artery disease. So here we can treat logistic regression as type of regression analysis algorithm where the model is built and the relationship between the binary outcome variable is being identified. So it can be like in the form of presence or absence of the CAD. You can also predict the one or more variables can be used for prediction here. So when we apply the logistic regression for the CAD data set, so we are going to follow some of the steps. First is we are going to define the outcome variable. So this outcome variable is in the form of presence or absence of the CAD. This variable can be coded as a binary variable. It can be either 1 for presence or 0 for the absence of the CAD. So next step is for identifying the predictive variables. So these predictive variables are the variables where you're going to use it for the outcome detection. So this can be some of the demographic variables like the age, sex, race of the patient. So you can also consider the clinical variables like hypertension, diabetes, and hyperlipidemia. So and also we can also consider some of the laboratory values. It can be in the form of lipid profiles or the blood glucose levels. So you can also consider the imaging data, which we are going to take the form of CT or the ECG values. Next, the third step is the finding the logistic regression model. So here, once we have identified the outcome of the variable or the predictor variable, you are going to fit the variables into the logistic regression model to analyze the data. So this relationship is built, and then we are going to interpret the results. So the results can be the measure of the overall goodness of the model, whether you're making use of some of the coefficients for indicating whether the CAD disease, the probability of the CAD disease based on the predictor variable. Finally, you're going to validate the model, and this validation is important here in the logistic regression model. We are going to assess its performance on a separate data set. So we are also making use of the cross data validation technique here. So the next type or the next algorithm is the k-nearest neighbor algorithm, which is a supervised learning technique which performs the task of classification and regression. So once you predict the variables, the algorithm starts identifying whether it can be depicted. This k-nearest algorithm can also be called as the lazy algorithm. So it is one of the cross-validation tool which can be intelligently used for learning the model, and it can also be used for prediction and reading. So it mainly works on the Euclidean distance measure, where you're going to identify the neighbors. The classification of the training example is used for the training method, and prediction time is also identified for different examples. If you're training k different data, so based on that, you're going to identify. And the most frequent one used is the Euclidean distance matrix for predicting. And this is the set of formula what is being used here for predicting the test. Here k represents the number of nearest neighbors, and the value different values of k are identified based on the larger values data set, or it can be based on the smaller value data set. So the larger value data set, the k is sensitive to noise, so it is better to estimate the discrete classes and use for the large training set. So next we have the support vector machine technique, which is a supervised way of learning method, where we're going to classify the classification or prediction of the different data, dimensionality of the data is being done, and different observations is made available for accuracy of the CAD.
So here the method develops the model which is using the method, the support vector machine will be identifying a hyperplane for the classification of the given data. So by making use of the correct predictions when the data is classified, we are going to maximize the distance between the two different data clusters. So the extreme points on the hyperplane has been identified as the support vectors. Based on this, the one decision boundary has been identified and the classes are being segregated and on a given dimensional space. Once the dimension of the hyperplane is identified, it depends on the features on the different data which has been available in the class of data set. So the next method is Naive based. So here this theorem which
for the
is
interruption, ma'am.
probability
Hello.
of an event based on the prior knowledge of the conditions that might be related to the event.
Hello.
So in any time, yes.
Yeah, ma'am, sorry for the interruption, but you are running out of the time, so please kindly.
Okay, yeah, sure. Here, the Naive-based CAD diagnosis is used for a collection of data set which has been labeled. Each of the patient data has been labeled based on the different factors. So it can be whatever the data we are going to collect. So on that, the risk factors have been identified. So this is the algorithm description, how we are going to make use of the data set for analyzing it. So here we are going to use the probability distribution such as the Gaussian distribution for the continuous data, what we are going to use. Finally, the Bayes algorithm will give us the calculated posterior probability of the patient having the CAD. So next method is decision tree. Again, it is one of the most popular decision machine learning algorithm where we can use for classification based on the data which has been
work, and please conclude your work.
Okay. So these are some of the experimental results what we have obtained for the k-nearest neighbor logistic regression. And these are the different algorithms which has been compared for the logistic regression, KNN, SVM, Naive-based, decision tree, and random forest. So to conclude, the method proposed validates the accuracy of the prediction and depicts the comparison of different machine learning techniques. So here identifying the major risk factors, developing a decision support system, and educating the health education programs for decreasing the heart disease mortality. In the future, a prediction model can be built for remote monitoring using machine-to-machine technology. Also, we can have the combination of the algorithms which can be used for achieving the high accuracy in prediction of the disease. So these are some of the references what we have used.
Thank you. Nicely presented your work, and you have performed good work. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please proceed for next lecture.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, please proceed for next presentation.
Yes, of course. So next presenter is S.K. Farin, and the paper title is Plant and Weed Seedling Classification Using Deep Learning Techniques.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good morning, sir and ma'am. Our presentation is on plant and weed seedlings classification using deep learning techniques. These are the table of contents, abstract objectives, existing system, proposed system, methodology, results, conclusion, and output. Agriculture is very important for the human existence. We know that farmers face a problem for differencing between the crops and weeds during the agriculture. And also at the time of leaf disease detection, first we should know what the leaf is, like which species it belongs to. So our aim is to build a model to classify these crops and weeds and also specify the species of the plants by using some deep learning techniques. And yeah, these are the objectives: to identify the plant species and also to classify the seedlings of crops and weeds. And existing system, we are having some existing systems which are based on the CNN model and which uses machine learning, SVM algorithm, but these models do not show high performance and high accuracy. So this is the proposed system. In our system, we used 3 models: CNN model, Resonate 50 model, and exception model. This is the methodology. First, we collected the data set, and then we pre-processed it, and then we performed data augmentation. Next, we splitted the data, and then we gave the data to our proposed model, and then we compiled and trained the model. This is the dataset description. We collected the dataset from the Kaggle. Our dataset contains overall 5,544 images, in which 794 are test and 4750 are images. The images of plants are of 12 species, and this is the proportion of the data which we have in our dataset. And these are the number of images and type. Black grass, it's like of number of there are 263 images, which is of weed. So these are the classes of our data set, and these are some of the images of the species of our of the plants in which are present in the data set. And first, we pre-process the data based upon the model. We resized it into 224 pixels and 300 based upon the model we are using. And then we also normalized the pixel values for the faster training of the model. And next, we perform data augmentation. Data augmentation means just increasing the size of the data set. Since we have very less number of images in our data set, we increase the size by performing data augmentation. And by doing this, it also reduces the overfitting problem. And we increase the images by specifying some of the values like zoom, shift, width, shift, horizontal flips. So we can see here in figure 5, this is the actual image which is present in the data set. And after doing the augmentation, we got this result, which is in the figure 6. These are some of the images which we got after performing the data augmentation on figure 5. And next is data split. We divided the data in 9:1 ratio. 90% we took it as a training and 10% for validation. Already in our data set, there is like training and the test set. We divided the training into validation and training set. So at last we got 4279 for the training, 471 for the validation, and 794 images are for the testing purpose. So now the model building, we use 3 models, as I said before: CNN model, Resonate 50, and exception model. This is the CNN self-built CNN model. First, in this model, we have 4 convolution layers and 4 max pooling layers, and we used 4 dropout layers. Followed by that, we place a flattened layer, and then the fully connected layers. Those are the dense layers. This is the architecture of the CNN model which we have used. And next, coming to Resonate 50, we also used Resonate 50 model. This is the predefined Resonate 50 model. This is the architecture. In this Resonate 50 model, we'll be having 50 layers. As we can see here, this block will be repeating like 3 times, 3 into 3, and each block will be repeating 3 times. If we count, all will be of 50 layers. And this is the predefined model, and how we used this model in our project or research is Resonate 50, we implemented this in 2 ways. One as a feature extractor and the other as fine tuning. In feature extractor means we have used the whole Resonate 50 model till the dense layers. Means the down layers we have freezed, and the top layers we have added our dense layers as per our data set. And the second one is finely tuning the Resonate 50 model. Here, we did not freeze all the down layers. Some of the layers we have trained for our data set, such that it will extract the features of our data, and it will be setting the weights as per our data set. On comparing these two models, a finely tuned Resnet 50 only worked, gave high performance. And next is exception. Exception, we call it as extreme inception also. In this, we have 71 layer. Generally, all CNN models in that convolution operation will be performed, but in this exception model, depth-wise separable convolution operation will be performed. It means that it will be having two operations. One is depth-wise convolution operation, and the second one is point-wise convolution operation. Depth-wise convolution operation means generally in convolution operation, let's say if we take an image of a size 224 and into 3, which is having 3 channels, RGB channels, and if we want to use some kernel size of 4x4, and we'll be using third dimension as 3, and we'll be performing the convolution operation by moving the kernel on the image stride wise, and we will be getting a feature map. But here in depth-wise separable convolution layer, first it will be performing the depth-wise convolution operation, which means that here the kernel size, it will take as 4x4, and the third dimension it will be only 1. So it will be performing depth-wise operation first, and the number of kernels will be equal to the number of channels of the image, and then comes the point-wise convolution. In point-wise convolution, the kernel size will be of dimension 1x1, and the number of channels and
Please conclude your work.
Okay. This is the architecture of the exception, predefined architecture. This is entry flow, middle flow, exit flow, and this is the modified exception. It means that we have used the same predefined exception model, and we have added our dense layers as per our data set. And we have compiled and trained for 100 epochs, and we have used Adam optimizer, and its batch size of 16. And these are the results. This is the confusion matrix. Here, first we can see in the first row, there are 17 black grass. This CNN model of size 224 pixel size, it classified 16 correctly, and one it misclassified as common bead. And this is also ResNet. This is ResNet 50 with 224 pixel size. And this is ResNet 50 with 300 pixel size. And this is modified ResNet 50, means this is left side is a feature extracting one. This is the modified one, and this with 224 pixel size. And this is also the same with 300. This is exception. As we can see that exception model gave the better results when compared to the other models. In confusion matrix, we can see that there are very less misclassifications compared to the other models. And yeah, this is the comparison. We can see here that exception gave nice results when compared to the others. Precision, it is 98%, and recall, and this is 97%. And here we have compared the accuracy of the models. Exception as feature extracted, it gave us 97% with pixel size 300. And these are the graphs which are plotted on for the epochs and the loss in accuracy. By this we can say that it is not causing much overfitting problem from these graphs. And as a conclusion is we have used 3 models, that is CNN, ResNet 50, and exception, and we have implemented it as feature extracting, and also we have finely tuned it. At last, we found that exception model is working better for our dataset, and it gave higher accuracy of 97%. And we also deployed it. We also created the front end. Just to choose a model, we use exception model at last. it will predict the species name, and it will also say whether it is a crop or weed. We uploaded cleavers and it gave the correct results. Common wheat crop, fat hen weed, and maize is a crop. Yes, thank you. That's it.
So you have presented your work in a very well mannered, and you have performed very good research. So thank you. Thank you so much. No more
Thank
questions. For you. Yeah, Riddhi ma'am, is there any more papers?
No, sir. The all presentations are done.
Okay. So
Yeah.
very thankful to organizers for giving me this opportunity to session this year. First, I would like to start my thanking to all of you, the speakers or presenters for their excellent presentation. They present a thought-provoking talks. Total 9 papers were presented in this session, and all are very good papers and thought-provoking. So I must congratulate to all of you, all the presenters, and even I also thanks to the session moderator Riddhi ma'am for organizing this session in a very well manner and keeping things both under control for reasonable on time. So, however, most importantly, I would like to thank to all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, ma'am, please proceed to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So I sincerely thank all authors for their excellent presentation in this session and the participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough to all. So we on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this version and the previous 6th version of this conference. We will be happy to have you in the 8th version in 24. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through the mail within 2 working days. So further, all the paper have already forwarded to the speaker and the publication will be live within 6 months. So kindly cooperate with team of ICTIS 2023. And I also thank our session chair, Professor Prakash Rishi, for the chairing the session. And here is the token of appreciation on behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and the team of ICTIS 23. Yeah, thank you so much for your valuable presence, sir, and the knowledgeable information for the sharing to the authors.
Thank you.
So I request to all please turn on the camera for the quick snapshot of the virtual conference. Thank you so much for the best of luck for your future work. Stay safe. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.